Okay, those were the headlines that we are tracking for you all this evening on ET Now. But back to the Money Show. And like I told you, we will be talking about planning money and finances for professionals and for entrepreneurs, because they, of course, do form a specific characteristic or different parameters when it comes to how they earn their money. And hence, their investment plan as well must be specifically curated. So whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or even are a small business owner, you must stay tuned over the course of the next 20 odd minutes. And of course, later we will also be kickstarting our Ask the Money Show segment, where we will be getting your personal finance queries answered. So to take us through all of this, we have with us Kalpesh Ashar, certified financial planner with Full Circle Consultancy. Kalpesh, always a pleasure having you with us on the Money Show. Doctors, teachers, they all form a very special part, of course, of our society, of our community. But when it comes to planning your finances, planning your money, it's not a one size fits all. So let's talk about professionals first. Doctors, teachers, they don't really have the time to look at the markets, to look at mutual funds, NAVs, and that's not even really jargons that they understand. Yes, you talk to them about the pancreas and pharmaceutical names, they'll probably understand that better, of course. But when it comes to financial jargons, they are at a bit of a loss. So what is it that they should keep in mind when they have to plan their finances for their future?
Absolutely. And, like every professional is specialized in his or her field, we need to respect that. And first and foremost thing, if you talk about professionals and in a very, elite type of a profession, let's talk about doctors, Now, the doctors are the ones who are always, as we know, always under stress. They have a very hectic schedule, and you find them running day in, day out, attending to the medical emergencies and the normal consultancies. So they hardly have any time to look at their personal finance, and you don't blame them for that. Now, the important thing here to understand is that being in this type of a highly stressful job in which they are bound to normally take decisions which could not be standing them in good stead in the long term. And as we do not know much about medicine in detail, we just know the basics of it, nor do they know the intricacies of finance, and more so personal finance. So the first thing with doctors, what we have is that their own protection needs to be taken care. So when we say that we do financial planning for doctors, we look at two things. One is their own protection through the normal forms of insurance, that is taking a decent amount of term plan for them, because theirs is a very specialist elite job, and it's more of a one-to-one type of a basis which they have. They don't have a company to fall back on. They don't have people. It's a face-to-face type of interaction. So their job is very, I would say, intricate. Their family needs to be protected. And so they understand also the health insurance part, So first, the life insurance for doctors, a very adequate amount needs to be taken, the term plan, and no, insurance cum investment policies for them. And secondly, the health insurance, because even if, God forbid, they were to be hospitalized, although they get many benefits to it, their family also needs to be protected adequately. This is the first and foremost thing. Second thing, if we move in the professional part, as we've always said, that their behavior, their own investment behavior, Mubin, I would like to stress this point here, needs to be, really reviewed and seen, because everyone knows from the finance field, and as we know, there are, financial, individuals lurking around them, knowing their net worth, that what a specialist doctor today earns and what his lifestyle is. So everyone has probably an eye on the doctor's wallet. Let's put it that way. Okay. So the doctor's behavior, investment behavior, I would say, is also many a times we find as financial planners very, very erratic. So they might, when you ask them what type of investments do they wish to make, either they would swing one side of the pendulum, they would want high risk equity, or the other side of the pendulum, they would not look beyond FDs. There is no balance in that. So somebody needs to have a total interaction with them and make them understand the intricacies of financial planning. The third most important thing here is that, the career of a doctor starts at a very early age. His studies, his internships, moving around in small hospitals, then moving as to a specialist, he really doesn't have the time to start looking at his finances from an early age, which in financial planning we always propagate, we advocate that an early starter always reaps the benefit for the long term. So ideally at mid phase of his career is when he would have started getting all the accolades for his profession, and he would be in a position to invest well. So that is one thing we need to understand with a doctor, that his investment process could be naturally hampered at an early age, but he needs to start for sure investing in the right things and clearing the fog on his mind, like how we go to a doctor and he in his own capacity explains the things to us. We need to explain the doctor's financial profile to him in an unbiased manner.
Okay, all right. For professionals, if I look at a teacher, she as well, in a way, he or she as well is salaried as such. So yes, you can determine the monthly income, etc. You know that you're going to get in that set amount. Maybe not so much so for doctors, especially who have their own clinics. But it's especially tricky for entrepreneurs, Kalpesh, because firstly, if you're a small business owner, sometimes there's no clear distinction between what comprises business, what comprises personal. Secondly, 1 month you may be in a profit, the second month things may not be good, you may be in a loss. So it's not even like you can say that, okay, every month I am going to save X amount or Y amount. It becomes really difficult in such a situation. So again, similar financial planning advice. What would you advise small-time business owners or entrepreneurs to do if they want to grow their wealth, if they want to adequately save for the future?
Mubina, you hit the nail on its head. The word there is unpredictability when it comes to, entrepreneurs who wish to do their personal financial planning, and it's a very tricky situation for them because it's all in the mind. And like what you rightly said, that the first and foremost thing which we advise here is differentiating between your professional, your business, profile and your personal profile. Do not mix these two together because it's a very thin line that an entrepreneur or a small business, holder would tread into, and at times to boost his business, which is growing, it's his livelihood, it's his dream, it's in a nascent stage, he would put all his personal resources into that to boost that. And on the other way around, at times if his personal profile is suffering, he would not hesitate to take the profits or some amount from his business and put it into his own personal profile. In both ways, it is detrimental. And that is where we try to advise all the entrepreneurs who are on their way to setting up businesses or who are already into that clear the thin line and keep these two entities completely separate. The second thing which is there is identifying the cash flows and your contingency fund and keeping them separate as well. So your cash flows you generate for your business is something else, and the cash flows is the income which you bring home from your business is something else. And so is the emergency fund, because your business might run into trouble, you might face similar problems on your personal hand. So contingency fund for two different purposes is also necessary. The third most important rule which people forget as an entrepreneur is pay yourself first. Do not forget that, I would say, the primary rule, because people say that, it's my own business, it doesn't matter. You need to value yourself as a person in the organization and pay yourself appropriately, because that is where your business will also have an expense of having you on board. And secondly, you will also, have your net worth enhanced by what you derive from your own business, and you would actually know how much to put in more to derive that much more. So pay yourself first. Do not make this mistake that the money plowed back time and again into your own business is not going to help you create your own net worth. One more thing, Mubina, I would like to point out is that many a times we've seen that, not in all cases, 100% for sure, that the individual outlives the business. And that is where the problem starts, that at the end of the day, if he would unfortunately want to wind up or even look at his business in a different way, and he looks at his own net worth, I think it's a big disappointment for him that he has not done anything on his personal front all these years, while his business has either gone through the ups or the downs. So that is important. And as an entrepreneur, one more thing is that you have the Keyman insurance policy, which many companies take it on behalf, like a term plan, basically, for upholding the main person, his interest in the company. But again, I would like to differentiate that as well. That tomorrow, if the company is not there, you need to still protect, or you have a change of plan. You need to protect your family, and for that, you need your personal term plan, which is bereft of the insurance policy, Keyman insurance policy.
Okay. A very important point that you mentioned, Kalpesh, is paying yourself, because, many times the distinction, that line is blurred, or sometimes it's not there in many small businesses as well. So the individuals don't tend to pay themselves. Like what was mentioned in our graphics as well, personal net worth, very important. And again, distinguish yourself and the business, because in all probability, the individual tends to outlive the business, especially if it's a small business and there's nobody to take it forward. Okay, well, on that note, now I'd like to open our phone lines, email addresses as well. This is our Ask the Money Show segment, where we open the floor for all our viewers out there to get any of their personal finance related questions and queries answered. So please do start sending them in. For now, let's just take an email query that we have received from Jishad KP. Now, Jishad says that I am currently working abroad, 30 years old, but planning to settle down in India in 2025. That's roughly 6 years from now. Goal is for wealth creation. He wants around 1 crore rupees in 7 years approximately. That's 2026. After that, he's planning to do a 60,000 rupee SWP per month. I'm really not sure why at 37 he'd want to do an SWP, and if it is a wise idea as well, because 37 is clearly a workable age, unless of course he's planning for early retirement, in which case 1 crore is really a low amount. But this is the SIPs. He's just started them in March 2019. HDFC Small Cap Fund, ABSL Pure Value, HDFC Top 100, Edelweiss Mid Cap, Canara Robeco Emerging Equity, and an ICICI Pru Multi Cap. So it's a total mix, but I think it's skewed towards the mid and the small caps. There's also a multi cap. I do not see any Nifty fund or an ETF. Basically, the total SIP amount is 50,000, and he wants to increase it to 75 in the next 2 months. Okay. So Kalpesh, a decent chunk of an SIP, 50 grand per month. He wants 1 crore in 7 years. Kalpesh, would this be possible? Do you think his time horizon is too low? And secondly, an SWP in 7 years, he'll be 37 by then. Would that be wise? Taking all things into consideration, assuming he's still going to be working, would that be a wise option to do an SWP at 37?
Okay, so let's work out the arithmetic first and then the fundamentals. So as far as his goal planning goes, whoever's worked out the figure that in a 7-year period, he should do an SIP of 75,000 per month, which would approximately grow at 12% CAGR, would get him closer to the 1 crore target. So he's more or less in the right sync for that. Okay. Now, the other part of the technical thing, which you have also pointed out, Mubina, is that his mix of funds, which is there, is tilted towards the mid and small cap segment. And that is a little bit of an uncomfortable zone, which I would think. So I would surely suggest that he, at this point of time, he stops the SIP in the ABSL Pure Value Fund. That's been a rank underperformer over the last 2-3 years. Not that others have not been, but this has really deviated. And shift that to the HDFC Top 100, which is a large cap fund. So that would shift some balance towards the large cap category. And as far as what his time horizon, which he has set on 2 fronts. One is that he's already decided his retirement or coming back thing to India so early. 6 years prior to that, he's decided that he wants to come back, which is a bit surprising. Second, all the investments which he's been advised for a 5 to 6 year time frame, I think that is not really right, because equity investments, whenever we advise, is with a time horizon of anything between 7 to 10 years for sure. So yet he's got into this aggressive portfolio. That's why I'm shifting a little bit to the large cap. So it's a little bit of a balanced category here. And as you rightly said, that it's not understandable here that what would he do with an SWP of 60,000 per month at the age of 37. So those questions are really vague to be answered. But on the mutual fund portfolio thing, I think this change, he should shift to large cap more. And if possible, lengthen his time horizon a little bit more in case there are hiccups in between.
try increasing your time horizon. And yes, assuming that at 37 you're still at a ripe age, obviously, to continue working. That's our assumption. In that case, there's really no need for an SWP. You might as well, continue with your SIP. There's more return potential as well to be made. And then consider retiring maybe at 55, if in case you still want to retire early. But of course, nowadays with life expectancy increasing, I know of people even working all the way till 70. But anyway, that's of course a choice that you have to make. For now, Jishad, I hope you've taken note of the recommendations from Kalpesh. All right, we have Samir who's calling us right now from Mumbai. Hi, Samir. Good evening. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is, I'm 30 years old and I have a savings of 1 crore. Mostly my investments are in fixed deposit, but I want to expand my horizon. So I want to know, what are the should I get into equities more or mutual funds? So if you can advise me the right kind of investment for my money, so that right now most of the money is in fixed deposit, so I'm not getting a lot of benefit, and the FD rates are going down.
Yes.
Just wanted to.
Okay, and I'm assuming you want to invest for the long term, right? Because you're still just 30.
Long term, Maybe in equities, mutual funds, but my money should grow more rapidly. So
higher returns, yes, higher returns, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to see their money work for them. And, it's a decent corpus of 1 crore, Kalpesh, that he has managed to save up for themselves. So, Samir, congratulations on that. You're just 30. So, yes, Kalpesh, how would you recommend? He's young. He has a long-term time horizon. So, you can say the world is his oyster of sorts. How would you recommend Samir go about?
Samir, first of all, let me, congratulate you on one part, that apart from having this corpus, you've, woken up to the fact that you need to diversify into equity mutual funds, because surely with that type of, holding in FDs is going to hold you in no good for your future. So thanks for the happy realization. And now when you are on the path of getting into the equity mutual funds, prior to that, I would suggest that you should understand what asset allocation also is. And second thing is, identify your financial goals, because purposeless investing will stand you in no good stead. You could identify your short-term and your long-term financial goals. Short-term, I mean to say anything which is up to 3 years. You can have medium-term goals up to 5 years, and long-term goals which are 5, 7, 10 years and above. Based on that, you can have the breakup of your existing corpus which you have of 1 crore, and everything which is required in the first 3 years does not go into equity, and as much as you do not want it, might have to stay in fixed income FDs, or a better option is debt-based mutual funds. The remaining part can be put into equity mutual funds according to your goals. So if you have at the age of 30 goals, which could be up to, buying a house or your own wealth creation, if you're not married, marriage on the cards. So those type of things, whenever you plan the equity mutual funds, keep it within time horizon of anything between 5, 7 and 10 years. And in equity mutual funds, you could have a mix of, I would simply put it as 33% in large cap, 33% in multi caps, and the remaining 33% divided between mid and small caps. One more piece of advice which you have not asked, but I would like to just lend, being 30. If you have not opted for a pure term plan, please do that first and protect your family, because at this age you will get a very decent cover at a reasonable premium.
Well, yeah, plain vanilla term plan is something that we would encourage all our individuals to adopt, especially if you are young. On that note, Kalpesh, thank you then for joining us, giving all our doctors, teachers, small businessmen out there a quick lesson on what they should keep in mind when they are planning their finances. And of course, all those viewer queries answered. Folks, if we've not been able to answer your question, don't worry. You can always email us on themoneyshow@etnow.tv, and we promise to get it answered over the course of the next few days, because The Money Show is a daily 1-hour show.